Morning, everybody. Welcome to the Sunday morning part of the Saturday night, Sunday morning live streaming, whatever this is, thing that I'm doing or attempting to do. Hope everybody had a good night, had a good week here in New England. It was freaking cold yesterday, and it's cold this morning, unseasonably cold. Our neighbor, we have a property line that has a bunch of trees on it, and the wind was so ferocious it broke this tree yesterday, came down on our neighbor's house, and I can't believe it. It broke like 2 slates maybe, and a bit of a fascia board, and it like landed with 2 limbs. It must have hit the ground and then gone in into the house, because it's like it didn't even knock off the gutter on their porch. There were 2 big limbs that went on either side of a chimney. It was pretty amazing that it almost couldn't have fallen better. It didn't hurt the fence at all that they had just put in a couple years ago, and we had been looking at it. My brother-in-law Tom and my sister Laurie were here a couple weeks ago, and Tom was like, "Ooh, that tree doesn't look so good. You know, the bark is peeling." We had an arborist come out and say, "Nah, it's structurally sound. You know, a little bit of sun scalding or something. You know, it's being exposed to wind it was never exposed to." Yeah, I couldn't take that wind yesterday, man. Crack. So, but luckily, you know, thank God, thank Goddess. Thank whatever spirit that moves you. You know, nothing was hurt by that. And yeah, it's another cold, unseasonably chilly day here in New England. I want to say Happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there. I want to say happy birthday to my niece Sophie, who is in her first year of residency as a nurse down at the Bay State ICU. It's like, welcome, thrown into the fire of the COVID. But luckily, she's been back on her. She's a member of the cardiac ICU, and luckily we're flattening the curve pretty well here in Massachusetts. And so she's been able to go back to her regular cardiac unit and not be in the with the COVID patients coming on, and that was very, as I can only imagine, that was very stressful and frightening, and nobody, you know, we just don't know enough about the disease yet. And I want to say happy birthday to my brother from another mother, Kurt Wise, who also shares Sophie's birthday today. Happy birthday, you both. And saying an R.I.P. to little Richard, who we lost yesterday or the night before. I didn't sort of have time to dig out a Little Richard song. I don't think I can just off the cuff, knock out whoa boppa loo boppa wham bam bow. What an amazing musician, what an amazing character. Just sort of his flamboyance, his sort of androgyny at a time, coming up, in that time when he grew up and all that racism, what an amazing light, he brought. It sort of inspired me in a way, I suppose, although I was going to play this anyhow, to start off with this song, This Little Light of Mine, which is a little bit different version than for a while. I guess it must have been back in 1990, 89, 88, somewhere in there, when I was living in Amherst in South Prospect Street. Just down the street from me, there's this tiny little church the Hope Church, and it became at that time. It sort of tapped into a lot of the sort of New Age spiritual movement in a traditional black church. So it was bringing in this Johnny and Carlos with a name. Carlos was the minister, and Johnny was the choir director, who was, I think he passed away from complications of AIDS, if I want to remember. He was a gay man. I don't know if Little Richard was gay, but he was certainly flamboyant. And this was one of the songs that we sing. There was so much joy in that little church, and I went a couple times with my mother, Marjorie, who's watching right now. And I have very fond memories of going to Hope Church. And at that time, when I was in one part of my sort of spiritual path, my journey, I went to a couple prayer circles there. It was just a place that was bursting with really amazing love and an expression of love. They used to sing this one. I don't think exactly this version of it, but this is from a book of folk, 124 folk songs that I got, I think, my mother, Happy Mother's Day, Mom, had, or that I got from her. Well, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, well, I'm gonna let it shine every day, every day. Oh, let my light shine, let my little light shine. On Monday, gave me the gift of love. On Wednesday, had no faith. Thursday, gave me a little more grace. Friday, told me to watch and pray. And Saturday, oh, to say, Sunday gave me the power divine. Just let my little light shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine every day, every day. Gonna let my little light shine. Let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine every day, every day, every way. Gonna let my light shine. Somehow. Hello, Tropic of Lamb. Moving towards the light. Amen. We are moving towards the light today. And the best way we can, and the only way we can, step by step. We're all on the same path. I firmly believe that. We're all going to get there. All of us. I want to play another gospel-y song right now that I played a few weeks ago by Charles Johnson, which I learned from a Jerry Garcia. Live disc. I wanna say to my sisters and my brothers, oh Lord, keep the faith. When the storm flies and the wind blows, go on at a steady pace. When the battle is fought and the victory won, we can all shout together, we have overcome. Talk to the Father and the Son when we make it to the promised land. Let's walk together, my children. We don't ever have to worry through this world of trouble. You gotta love one another. You gotta take your fellow man by the hand. Yeah, help him to understand. We'll all be together forever and ever when we make it to the promised land. Say to my sisters, my brothers, gotta keep the faith. When the storm flies and the wind blows, man, go on at a heavy pace. When the battle is fought and victory won, we will all shout together, we have overcome. We will talk to the Father and the Son when we make it to the promised land. Our Bible reads, thou shalt not be afraid of the terror by night, nor the arrow that flies by day. Not for the pessimist that walketh in the dark, not for the destruction in the noontime hour. I wanna talk to my sisters and my brothers, come on now, keep the faith. When the storm flies and the wind blows, go on at a steady pace. When the battle is fought and the victory won, we will all shout together, we have overcome. Talk to the Father and the Son when we make it to the promised land. This world of home, we are only passing through. Trail is way up, way on above the blue. Let us do the very best that we can when we're traveling through the land. We will all be together, shaking a hand when we make it to the promised land. All together, my children, just keep the faith. When the storm flies and the wind blows, man, go on at a steady pace. Battle fought, victory won, we can all shout together, we have overcome. We will talk to the Father and the Son when we make it to the promised land. 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 Lord knows when we make it to the promised land, we will all talk together with the Son. We will victory has overcome. We will all talk to Father and the Son when we make it to the promised land. Hello, Yvette, Melissa. Welcome. Hope you're having a good Sunday morning, wherever this Sunday morning finds you. I fought my way through that song. I stayed up a little late tonight catching up on this documentary on Michael Jordan that ESPN was doing, The Last Dance, about the last year that he played with the Bulls before they broke up the team, and it sort of looks back. Each episode sort of goes back, to his childhood and Scottie Pippen's childhood and the coach. It's just a great documentary. It made me realize a couple things. One is how much I miss watching sports and like listening to sports talk radio, and just that whole here we are in May. How are the Red Sox doing? The Red Sox had such a disaster of a season last year. Just everything, just the way that everything played out was just so awful last year. But I would have been loving to watch some baseball right about now. So it made me think, oh God, yeah, I really miss that with all this stuff, the things that I hadn't really thought about. It's just like trying to navigate this new reality of being in sort of lockdown or quarantine or whatever you want to call it here, and realizing, sometimes sort of yesterday. When I was kind of wrestling with the girls, going, oh yeah, for all you folks out there that are for whatever reason right now living by yourself, just that missing that physical touch, my heart goes out to. I wish I could reach out through this camera and give you a hug and give some of that physical touch. So there's these things we're missing. That can be really hard, but I don't know where I was going with that. Not to sort of dwell on it on a Sunday morning, but just to recognize, that this is a stressful time, a tough time, and my faith helps me get through it. One thing that helps me get through it is kind of zooming out. In my mind and realizing, sort of the scope of the situation I'm in, the part of my life this incarnation is in right now, and seeing the scope of this, bigger, and seeing, oh yeah, this is not the first time anything like this has happened. It's just the first time, in my lifetime, the lifetime of my family and friends that happen to be alive right now on this planet, that something like this has happened. And where it connects to my faith and thinking about sort of zooming out, which gives me comfort, is to realize, oh yes, this, all my little worries, missing baseball or worrying about my kids and when is this going to end, or worrying about finances and or whatever that stress seems to be in my life. I'm like, yeah, it's okay. I have faith. This is all going to work out. This is not, I firmly believe this is not my first rodeo, so to speak. This is not my first or my last incarnation. And so it's like, okay, I need to tap into my my wellspring of love and devotion and faith to get through this, and to realize that we will come out on the other side. And I don't know if we will come out to something better, but that's my thanks for joining us, Sandy. But that's my hope. That's my prayer. Out of this comes a greater sense of unity. You really realize, yeah, we are all connected, and out of this darkness will be born, the light. Sometimes I think of a, politically the pendulum, seems to swing back and forth, and I can see many sort of parallels historically between this time in America and other times like the Great Depression and after the Great Depression, the New Deal and more of a social safety net, taking care of each other, and that's when Social Security came around, and not all, even all the things like the WPA program, which was so amazing, and it's clear that a lot of our systems are just freaking limping along, broken right now. From the state unemployment systems to the IRS, being all their funding being cut, and to nobody being home, basically, at the CDC, and eliminating all these positions. Our healthcare system spending the most per capita on healthcare of any nation, right? Right? It's not like we're not spending money on it, right? But it's just like this broken system that doesn't take care of people, and it's a mixture of nonprofit and for-profit, and then you have the pharmaceutical industry so involved, and it's just like, okay, if this thing we're going through right now, out of it comes more compassion for our fellow man, woman, child, gender non-determinate individuals. If out of this comes, a better, more compassionate healthcare system, universal basic income, a Medicare for all, a better safety net. I'm not saying it is worth it. I'm just saying that, like, sometimes I feel like, okay, this time, is really tough for all of us, but my faith comes in where I'm like, oh, yes, if we all pull together, and I just have to be concerned with my own salvation. It seems like the Facebook one here is coming in and out. I wonder if I should switch to a different network or something there, but hopefully it'll keep coming back. And part of my own salvation is just figuring all this stuff out. Nobody knows what they're doing. That's what I always tell my kids. I don't know what we're doing. Nobody, the big secret is adults really don't know what they're doing either. But, we got to figure it out ourselves. Yeah, as you can see, I don't write any of this stuff down. It's just kind of a rambling consciousness. Stop that train, I'm leaving. Stop that train, I'm leaving. Stop that train, I'm leaving. Well, it won't be too long, whether I'm right or wrong. Won't be too long, whether I'm right or wrong. All my life I've been a lonely man, trying to teach people that won't understand. Though I try to do my best, can't seem to find no happiness. Stop that train, I'm leaving. Stop that train, I'm leaving. Stop that train, I'm leaving. Well, it won't be too long, whether I'm right or wrong. Won't be too long, no, whether I'm right or wrong. Right or wrong. Sun going east, sun going west. Some just trying to do their best. Some living big, but the most are living small. Don't even have no food at all. Stop that train, I'm leaving. Stop that train, oh, I'm leaving. Stop that train, I'm leaving. Well, it won't be too long, whether I'm right or wrong. Won't be too long, whether I'm right or wrong. Peter Tosh. Reminded me of that song. They wanted it reminded me of another gospel song involving trains. This train. Oh, this train is bound for glory. This train. This train is bound for glory. This train. This train is bound for glory, and I don't ride no one but the righteous and holy. This train is bound for glory. This train. This train done took my mother, said this train. This train, it took my mother, this train. This train, it took my mother, and the same one will carry my sister and brother now. This train, it's bound for glory, this train. This train don't carry no gamblers, not this train. This train don't carry no gamblers, not this train. This train don't carry no gamblers, no midnight ramblers. This train is bound for glory, this train. This train is leaving in the morning, this train. This train is leaving in the morning, this train. This train is leaving in the morning, good God Almighty, a new day's dawning. This train is bound for glory, this train. This train, she's bound for glory, this train. This train, she's bound for This train, she is bound for glory, and she don't ride no one but the righteous and holy. This train is bound for glory, this train. This train, she's bound for glory, this train. This train, she's bound for glory. This train. Amen. I was going to do another train song, but then I kind of woke up. Because I didn't get my beauty sleep, I woke up a little bit like, oh, what am I doing? Where am I going? What's happening? So I thought, I sort of already done some musings, but one of the things I thought I'd pull out today, since I didn't have time to sort of think about what I was going to talk about or anything, was this. I was thinking the other day about these. Of course, in Facebook, it's well, maybe on this one too. It's backwards. This Native American tarot called medicine cards, and I mean part of it is just this sort of New Age Valley hoo-ha that I sort of kind of like pish posh every once in a while, with this. But when I've picked up these cards, it's always like I'm always really interested in what the reading of the cards is. I'm not going to do a tarot reading. I haven't done anything like that in years with these, but every once in a while I would walk past them when I was sort of more using these, or these were a bigger part of my life, and I pick a card and I just read, what's the day going to be like, or what do I have to learn, or my sister-in-law Molly was over yesterday, and she was talking about her friend Diane, who moved to India and heard that an oracle was coming to her village, and she was like, what question should I ask it? So she Googled it, like, what questions do you ask an oracle? And it came up with, or the question she liked the most was, what do I need to know right now? And I was like, oh, that's a great question. And she sort of figured out what she needed to know before going to the oracle. The oracle asked, so what was the question you were going to ask me? And she said, oh, I was going to ask, what information do I need right now to help me the most? And the oracle was like, ooh, that's a great question. So I'm going to pick a card. What information do we need to know right now with this situation we're in? This situation anybody's in, this situation I'm in right now. So I'm just going to, here, why don't you, one of you pick a card. Which one? Which one? This one? Okay. Let's see what it says. Porcupine. Of course, the way I was holding it, I think it came up reversed. Let's see let's read what porcupine's all about. Innocence. Porcupine. And it says, it has this nice little picture there of the porcupine. Little porky. It says, porcupine, remind me of innocence again. With every man a brother, each woman a friend. The south of the medicine wheel is the place of childlike innocence and humility. It is the home of playfulness and the position of porcupine on the medicine wheel of life. Porcupine has many special qualities and very powerful medicine, the power of faith and trust. The power of faith contains within it the ability to move mountains. The power of trust in life involves trusting that the Great Spirit has a divine plan. Your task is to find the pathway that is most beneficial for you and that uses your greatest talents to further that plan. Trust can open the doorway to the creation of space. The space thus created allows others to open their hearts to you and to share their gifts of love, joy, and companionship. If you were to observe porcupine, you would immediately notice its quills. The quills are only used when trust has been broken between porcupine and another creature. Much like otter, porcupine is a gentle, loving creature and non-aggressive. When fear is not present, it is possible to feed a porcupine by hand and never get stuck by its quills. Through understanding the basic nature of this animal, you may come to understand your own need for trust and faith, and for becoming like a child again. In today's society, this is a needed reminder to honor the wonder of life and the appreciation of each new day as an adventure of discovery. Porcupine sat silently, looking at a hollow log. She wondered if it was a playhouse that nature had created just for her. Porcupine envisioned all the things she could do with the log. She could climb on top of it and make the log roll from side to side. She could go inside and see if there was any juicy worms for her dinner. She could also scratch her back on the rough outer bark if she wanted to. Just as Porcupine was wondering what to do next, she saw Bear approaching. Bear was big and black and looking for honey. Oh, another playmate to share my log, she thought. Hello, Bear, she cooed. Do you want to play and share my log with me? Gruff old Bear snorted. Porcupine, don't you know that I'm too old to play? You're in my way. I'm looking for honey. Go away. And no, there was this whole story at the end of this. Why, Bear, you're never too old to play, she replied. If you forget what it was like to be a cub, you'll always be impatient and gruff as you are now. Bear began to think about what Porcupine had said. Maybe she was right. All the other creatures had run away from Bear in fright. Even the other bears had turned up their noses when he growled at them. This little Porcupine was certainly trusting him not to eat her. She even offered to be his friend. The old bear looked at Porcupine and began to feel something move inside of him. He started to remember the games he had played as a cub, and joy started to live in him again. Little Porcupine, you've reminded me that in becoming strong and seeking answers, I got caught up in trying to be an intellectual. I became afraid of what others would think if I dropped my mask of gruffness. I was afraid they wouldn't take me seriously anymore. You've taught me that in being a fuddy-duddy, I love that word, fuddy-duddy. In being a fuddy-duddy, I was causing others not to care for me. Thank you. I'd love to play with this old log. And so it was that Bear became childlike again and learned the innocence of Porcupine. In choosing the Porcupine card, you've given yourself a gentle reminder not to get caught in the chaos of the adult world, where fear, greed, and suffering are commonplace. The medicine in this card is that of relief from seriousness and severity. Open your heart to those things that gave you joy as a child. Remember that preciousness... I'm having trouble with the Wi-Fi again on this. Remember when preciousness of fantasy and imagination and the making of some game or toy from nothing but scraps. Honor the playfulness of spirit that lets everyone win. Okay, now I realized that I had sort of had this upside down when I picked the card. So it actually came out contrary, which is the reverse. So I'm also going to read the contrary part of this. In pulling the Porcupine card reversed, you are giving yourself a timely warning that you cannot win the game of life if you are too serious. In some areas of your life, you may be feeling hurt or afraid of trusting again. It is possible that life has recently dealt you a hard blow. If this is so, it is time to begin again by placing faith in your ability to overcome the lesson with joy. Are you willing to trust yourself? If so, you might begin by writing down the feelings that come out of this situation. How can you, as your adult self, comfort you, the child within, and teach your inner child how to have faith and trust again? The ill-dignified Porcupine is belly up, with its quills stuck in the ground. This is a rather defenseless position. You may be forcing yourself to be vulnerable so that you can regain your hope. Perhaps you needed to roll over to get your tummy patted. I got my quarantine tummy working here. This position could therefore indicate that you're ready to accept a little love from others. In any case, if you're not willing to trust again, this card is forcing you to look at why, or at why not. Boy, there's a lot of wisdom in that. See, that's why I thought of this book and I was like, oh yeah, I always remember there's a lot of wisdom in that book. A couple things, I gotta make sure we put this the right way up. A couple things that stood out there for me about becoming like a child again. is that your task is to find the pathway that's most beneficial to you and use your greatest talents to further that plan. You know, every time I hear from any faith about, oh, this is the only true path, you know, and if you don't follow this, you know, you're in league with the devil. Well, I just realized that's the devil's words talking right through it, whether it's a Hindu, you know, saying that the Muslims don't belong, or whether it's a Christian saying that anyone who doesn't follow our Lord Jesus Christ doesn't belong. Whatever path uses your talents, whatever those are, that's the path that's going to lead you to heaven, right? Amen. For damn straight it is. And the other part of this that resonates with me right now is all this work I've been doing on myself lately, and this therapy about getting in touch with these different parts of myself. Hey Ben, getting in touch with the hurt little kid inside of me, the angry, defensive teenager that came out of you know, pretty fucked up childhood. You know, I had a great childhood when I was very young, you know, but I was sexually abused by my own father, right? And this it's like trying to reconnect. I don't know if I need to like switch the Wi-Fi on this or not. Actually, you know what I think I need to do, and then I'll come back to this, is just remind my daughters to maybe not watch Netflix right now. Maybe that's it. Hey, Rosie, are you online? What? Are you online? Can you not be online right now? Yeah, I don't know if Beatrice, if you're online. No. Okay. I'm having a hard time with it going through the network we're both on. So, all right. Maybe that'll make the connection a little bit better. What I need to do is sing. Exactly. So, without much further ado or going into that, what that spoke to me about was this work of sort of being with that wounded child, and it made me think of this song that I wrote not so long ago. Trapped in the den, just looking for a way out. Seems I only get drawn further in. Looks like I'm the chosen one, some sort of sad, strange prodigal son, returning again and again to the side of all my father's sins. Frozen in fear, trying my best to disappear, and watching the darkness falling like the lowering of some veil. So I pick up my cross, carried it so long it's covered in moss. I take up the trusty hammer, the family nails. If I don't look down this time, I can finally lose the sound. Your voice in my head and the past always seems to be calling. all I needed all along. Lose my fear of falling. When will I lose this fear of falling? Surrounded by impossible tasks like getting out of bed, putting on a mask while I listen to your voice in my head saying, boy, you know you're bound to fail. So I stumble through the day, teeth kicked in, feet full of clay, looking for some cold, cold comfort in this old familiar jail. Maybe if I don't look down this time, I can finally lose the sound. Your voice in my head and the past, it always seems to be calling. Step out onto this rope, it's been stretched so tight, man, I lost all hope. Maybe that's all I needed all along, to lose my fear of falling. Finally put down crosses I've been hauling. Recognize all these battered street signs, the old rutted road leading straight down to the gates of hell. Thought I left this all behind, what a fool I've been, so broken and blind. Listening to the echo from that same old rusty bell. If I don't look down this time, I can finally lose the sound. Your voice in my head, the past always seems to be calling. Step out onto this rope, it's been stretched so tight, man, I lost all hope. In my head, the past always seems to be calling. Step out onto this rope, it's been stretched so tight, man, I lost all hope. Maybe that's all I needed all along. Lose my fear of falling. Oh, oh, lose this fear of falling. Yeah, you like that shirt? I got that as a Father's Day present. I think it was a Father's Day present. So yeah, there's that bossa nova beat. Yeah, I don't know. Should I play another song? Maybe I should play a song on the guitar. Ooh, I'll play this song that I played the other day. Because it's fun to play. Oh, here it is. Oh, God. See if I can find the right harmonica. There it is. There it is. All right. How many times have you heard somebody say, if I had his money, do things my way? Little they know, so hard to find a rich man in town, the satisfied mind. Where's that plectrum? Once I was lucky, fortune and fame, spent all my money, sweet money, playing games. Suddenly it happened, I lost every dime. Money can't buy youth when you get old. A friend if you're lonely, for a heart that's grown cold. One thing's for certain, when it comes my time, this old world with a satisfied mind, money cannot buy a satisfied mind. My time has run out. My friends and my relations, I'm gonna leave them, no doubt. One thing's for certain, here comes my time to leave this old world. Ouch! I do not have my guitar fingers, wrist going at all. But I love to play that song on guitar. Good golly, Miss Molly, I wish I could do justice. I don't even know the chords to Good golly, Miss Molly. Good golly, Miss Molly. It's probably just like a ramp or something. I don't feel like I can do it any sort of justice. Sandy, I wish I could. I don't even know what key it's in. I'll do one more. Oh, I did promise you Peace Train, and I didn't get enough sleep last night. I didn't have a chance to look it up. So I promise next week. You see, I even made a note, and this one's going on to next week. Peace Train. Cat Stevens. I was like, I gotta look that up. And then I ran out of time, and I didn't get enough sleep because I was watching the Michael Jordan documentary. You gotta believe me. I gotta have that bossa nova beat. For the tribe, these three men made a solemn vow: John Barleycorn must die. They plowed and sowed and harrowed him in, threw clods upon his head. Oh, these three men made a solemn vow: John Barleycorn was dead. From heaven did fall, and little Sir John, he propped up his head couldn't stand till midsummer, till he grew both pale and wan. Little Sir Johnny grew a long sharp beard, so became a man. Chop him off at the knee. They bound him and tied him about the waist, treating him most barbarously. They hired men with the sharp pitchforks to stab him to the heart. The loader, he's treated him worse than that, man. He just threw him upon a cart. Across a barn. Oh, these three men made a solemn oath of poor John Barleycorn. Hired men with the crabtree sticks to strip him skin from bone. The miller, he treated him worst of all, man. He just ground him between two stones. Sir John is in the nut brown bowl, Grandy in the glass. Little Sir John in the nut brown bowl has proved a stronger man at last. Huntsman, he can't hunt no fox, nor loudly blow his horn. The taker can't mend not cattle apart, man, without a little barleycorn. All right. Thanks, Jim. Good to see you. Through my little camera phone. Well, I hope everyone out there in cybery space has a fantastic Sunday and takes care of yourself and takes whatever sort of joy that you can find with that little kid, you know, and bring it out to the world. Yeah, that song I know by memory. That one, A Peace Train, I don't know. John Barleycorn, I know that one because it's so fun to play on the piano. I just love those minor keys, you know, that A minor. I could play play that all the time. Encore, encore. All right, I'll play this one just because I love it so much. I love to play this song on the piano. This is such a fun song to play on the piano. Flow in token rhyme, suggesting rhythm that will not forsake me until my tale is told and done. While the fire lights aglow, strange shadows from the flames will grow. The things we've never seen will seem familiar. Shadows of a sailor forming, winds both fair and foul all swarm. Down in Carlisle he loved a lady many years ago. There beside him stands a man, a soldier from the looks of him. He's come through many fights, lost that love. While the storyteller speaks, a door within the fire creaks, suddenly flies open. A girl is standing there. Eyes alight with flowing hair, and all that fancy paints as fair. She takes a fan and she throws it into the lion's den. Which of you to gain me tell will risk uncertain a pains of hell? I will not forgive you if you will not take the chance. The sailor gave at least a try, the soldier being far too wise. Strategy was a strength and not disaster. Sailor coming out again, and the lady fairly leapt at him. That's how it stands today. You decide if he was wise. The storyteller makes no choice. Soon you will not hear his voice. His job is to shed light, not to master. Inspiration, move me brightly, and paint the song with sense and color, and drive away despair. And more than this I will not ask, faced with mysteries dark and vast. Well, statements just seem vain at last. Some rise, some fall, some climb to get to Terrapin, counting stars by candlelight. All are dim but one is bright. A spiral light of Venus shining first and lasting best, all from the northwest corner of a brand new crescent moon. Crickets and cicadas sing a rare and different tune. Terrapin Station, and in the shadows of the moon, Terrapin Station, I hope we'll get there soon. Terrapin, I cannot figure out Terrapin, if it's the end or the beginning. Terrapin, our train's put its brakes on. Terrapin, the whistle is screaming. Terrapin. Thank you, all the people watching. Yeah, maybe we bid you good afternoon here on the East Coast. I hope you all have a great Sunday and take care of yourselves and find that little kid in you that just trusts the universe, you know, and that we'll all get through this. And there's going to be a lot more death. You know, there's no denying that. You know, coming our way. It's going to touch all of us. And, you know, I pray that we all will just find that joy within us. And if we're in a position to help each other. Help yourself, help each other. Have a fantabulous day. God bless.